Hey everyone, today I am joined by Hans Skillrud. He's the co-founder of Termageddon, a service that helps business owners navigate the complex world of data privacy and website policies. Now, before your eyes start to glaze over, I promise it's more interesting than it sounds, and Hans and I are going to try to get through things kind of quickly. We could probably easily talk for half an hour, 45 minutes about all this stuff, but we'll try to get through it quickly and cover the most important things that you need to know that affect your business and your website. Hans, thanks so much for joining me today. Maybe to start things off here, you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to start Termageddon.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to talk about privacy policies and all the website policy stuff that I know everyone listening right now is super excited to learn about. So yeah, my name is Hans. I'm one of the co-founders of Termageddon. I built this company with my wife. She's a privacy attorney, chair of the American Bar's e-privacy committee, a thought leader in the privacy space. And I was a web designer back in the day. I built websites for clients, and I used to copy and paste privacy policies from other websites when my clients would ask me to. And it never felt good, but I kind of just did it just to move on with the project. When I married a privacy attorney, she shared how bad of a long-term strategy that was. And long story short, I told her it was clients would never pay her prices to have her for her legal counsel. So we created Termageddon as an affordable solution to keep website policies up to date over time.
I didn't realize you guys were such like a website privacy policy power couple coming together. That's so perfect. I love how that worked out.
Yeah, I certainly didn't think I'd be spending my career working for privacy policies. Like I loved building websites for clients, but when love has a calling, you go with it, right?
Yep, that's great. Let's start at the very basics for everybody who isn't maybe aware of some of the details. Like, what is a privacy policy and terms and conditions and cookies and all these things that are becoming more of the forefront of the legal world and all the complex stuff going on around them?
Yeah, so as a whole, website policies help you comply with laws and limit your liability. That's really the two things it does: comply with laws and help you avoid fines and lawsuits. That breaks down into each and every policy and why it exists. So a privacy policy explains your privacy practices to your website visitors. And what is this about? Well, a privacy policy contains the disclosures you're required to make under each and every applicable privacy law that applies to you. So what's happening here is your name is your name, your email is your email, your phone number is your phone number. That's your data as an individual. In privacy laws, governments are creating privacy laws to protect and regulate that data. So when governments create privacy laws saying, hey, your name is your name and companies need to respect that, well, we're a company. We have a website. We are potentially collecting that data through contact forms, through email newsletter signups. Potentially, we have websites that collect data behind the scenes for analytics or security purposes. These are not bad things. These are great things that make up an excellent website, but they are examples where we're collecting data, and that's when our light bulb should be going off. Oh, I'm collecting people's data. I may need by law to have a privacy policy. To add a little bit of complexity there, privacy laws are constantly changing. At the time of this recording, we have 2 more laws going into effect in 40 days. And so you not only need a privacy policy that provides the disclosures you're required to make, but nowadays we have to have a strategy to keep those policies up to date over time with newly required disclosures. Terms of service, otherwise known as terms and conditions, basically it's a laundry list of reasons why people can't sue you. That's to put it as simply as possible. Now, there are like e-commerce websites that take transactions where it is required by law to have a terms and conditions. But in general, even for websites that don't have e-commerce, I love a terms because it's like, hey, by visiting this website, you're not allowed to just take what's on my website and use it however you wish. Like, you have to get my permission first. It's basically like a laundry list of statements like that. So those are the main 2 ones: privacy policy to comply with privacy laws, terms and conditions to avoid lawsuits, and to protect your business. Then there comes like the extension packs, disclaimers, which are kind of an extension pack to a terms. It's only needed under certain circumstances if you provide information that can be seen as medical advice or fitness tips, stuff like that. And then there's cookie policy and cookie consents. Those cookie banners that you probably see when you visit a website asking you to accept or deny. Those are required by some, not all privacy laws. And it's important as we as website owners, we figure out which laws apply to us, because that helps determine if you need a cookie banner or not, to properly get consent from our visitors prior to using technologies behind the scenes like analytics tools. So is that a decent summary?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it basically boils down to being clear with anybody who arrives on your website what kind of data you're collecting and how you're collecting it, what you're going to do with it, and
Yep.
also a bunch of terms that protect your business from anybody who, goes off the rails and says, "Oh, your website accidentally charged me, or something went wrong here, and I'm going to sue you because I think you're collecting data in the wrong way," or whatever. Lots of different reasons that you
Yes.
could get sued.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
exactly
it's when business owners hear about those kinds of things, there's kind of two ways that come into, or two potential paths to how to navigate that. One is go hire a lawyer and
right.
spend a bunch of money, make sure you're hiring someone who knows. I mean, hire someone like your wife who is a privacy expert and can craft these policies for you. Or I think the other easy solution that a lot of business owners turn to is search on Google privacy policy template,
Yep.
grab
Yep.
it, put it on your website, and say, okay, hopefully that's good enough and I don't get in trouble. And you already mentioned that that's not a great way to be handling things. What are the potential issues that you can run into when you take that path and just say, oh, I'm going to get this template. It's good enough for me. I'm putting it on my website, and I'm a small business. Nobody is going to
Who's
care or
gonna
notice,
care?
so I think
Yeah.
I'll get away with it.
100%. I've heard that one too many times, unfortunately. And granted, again, I'm coming from a place where I used to do this exact thing. I used to copy and paste policies, but I've talked to one too many one-person website owners dealing with a $50,000 demand letter for non-compliance with the privacy law. So this is important stuff. So you named the two buckets that kind of existed before Termageddon kind of got involved in the industry. Bucket one is the attorneys, and if you can afford an attorney to draft your policies based on the laws that apply to you, monitor laws, and keep your policies up to date, of course, go that route. That there's nothing better than having someone be able to provide you with legal services. Now, granted, my wife's a privacy attorney, but she no longer has a private practice, so unfortunately, she couldn't be hired. But we're friends with many privacy attorneys and would be happy to connect you with someone else. Most website owners, though, don't have $5,000-$10,000 a year laying around for such a luxury. And that is when they go to like templates, like go online and try to find a free template. So there's a couple primary concerns I have with using a template. Number one, we have yet to see a template that actually provides the disclosures required under every applicable privacy law for a website owner. So we have yet to see that. And my challenge flag is out. Like if I stand corrected, I will admit that. But that hasn't happened yet. But let's just say in theory, you somehow find a template that exactly matches the disclosures you're required by law to make, and you get it on your website. Awesome. Until 40 days from now, when 2 more U.S. privacy laws go into effect requiring new disclosures. It's no longer, and we no longer have the luxury of providing a static policy and just thinking we're good to go and just ignoring it forever. Like, these privacy laws are real. There are more coming. Enforcements are increasing. Smaller and smaller businesses are being targeted. We need to have a strategy to keep our policies up to date over time. And that's where a tool like Termageddon is, kind of in between the two, where we're 119 a year and, our tool figures out what laws apply to you, make the disclosures required under those laws, and then notifies you whenever the laws change. And we even have the ability to push updates to your policies automatically. So we're kind of that in between a template and a legal service provider. We're certainly not a legal service provider, but we're certainly not a template either. We're kind of a solution is probably the best way to put it. So.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, we've already touched on it a couple times of how often the world of data privacy changes. I remember hearing about GDPR a long time ago, and it's this big deal rolling out in the EU. And it's sort of like, oh, does that really apply to me? And we don't really do that much business in the EU, but we could potentially have someone in Germany visit our website, and then we're collecting the data of an EU citizen.
Sure.
And since that law was put into action, it seems like, I don't know how many at this point, at least half the states, if not more, have their own. I know California has their own, and New York, and it's becoming a thing that everybody wants to do, and they all have slightly different rules from each other. There's not just like one set of rules that can easily apply across the board. So it does feel like this really overwhelming thing to try and wrap your head around on your own. So I think Termageddon is such a great solution to that. to help you navigate such a complex world and making it feel like, okay, I understand what's going on here, and I feel like I have the right level of protection without having to go spend thousands of dollars on an
Yeah.
attorney to get like a bespoke set of terms or something like that.
I think that's I align with that mindset so much. I always say I love the fact that people are getting a right to their privacy. I am not fighting against that. But what I find to be a little bit of a joke is that we as small business website owners who just want to collect leads online for our website, we now may need to comply with a multitude of ever-changing privacy laws and new privacy laws that go into effect. So it's my wife's full-time job. I mean, she constantly is monitoring changes, and like the thought of employing an attorney or hiring an attorney to draft that on an ongoing basis for a small business website just seems like out of the question. So yeah, I do think we hit a nice niche with Termageddon, which is like, let's make ourselves affordable, kind of fun, kind of dorky, but cool. Name being Termageddon and whatnot, but let's back up our product. And every customer who goes through our setup process, we walk customers through like the setup process. And by the end of the call, they're like, I am so happy we did that together. Like that, I feel so much better. Like it tends to be a lot of high fives after we get them all set up. And they're feeling good because now they know that it's our job to monitor these changes and keep them up to date over time. So
Yeah, for sure. One thing I've thought about as well is when you hear about some of this privacy stuff in the news, you hear about really big companies getting penalized for not disclosing their data usage or something along those lines. And it can feel like, oh, well, who's going to pay attention to a small business that isn't reporting things in the right way or whatever
Yep.
they may not be doing. But one thing I've heard about is in some cases having small businesses get sued by someone who visited the website and has said, you didn't disclose how my data was collected. I'm a California citizen, and
Yep.
now I'm going to sue you for breach of this privacy law.
Yes.
And it feels like I know a lot of agencies, and we've certainly seen it as well, where it sounds similar to the Americans with Disabilities Acts
Yes.
and accessibility of websites, where sometimes it's a little unclear. The law isn't directly related to how your website works, but you potentially fall under that law. And if someone sees you breaking that law, they can take you to court over it. And maybe you just have to settle out of court, but it still could be thousands of dollars. Is that something you've seen rising over the past few years?
Unfortunately, it is. We called the company Termageddon. We created this company 10 years ago before even EU's GDPR existed. It hadn't even gone into effect yet. So we meant for it to be funny, scary, like it's a funny, scary name. But no, you fast forward to 2024, January of 2024 was when I heard of a non-Termageddon customer getting sued under a California privacy law, and they were a one-person website owner. And then over the course of the last 16 months, people have just been getting demand letters saying, I need, $50,000 in damages because you used a third-party tracking technology and I didn't give consent. The news covers when Facebook gets fined $8 billion or Microsoft gets fined $40 billion, whatever those ridiculous numbers are. And so it almost leaves us thinking, oh, small business owners are fine. And unfortunately, that is just not the case. And that's why I do these podcasts to get awareness to people, because I always say I feel like I had to marry a privacy attorney to figure this stuff out. I took a hit for the industry. People hear me when I say this stuff is coming and it's rising. So what we saw with accessibility lawsuits, privacy's been just a few years behind it, and unfortunately, the law is not a bad law. It's just that I think there's just so many website owners that had no idea that I need this stuff, and that's why it's just important to get in front of it. So I can confirm I personally have spoken to over a dozen one-person small business owners. I talked to nonprofits who've gotten the $50,000 demand letter, and then they come to us and what can we do? And I'm like, talk to an attorney and settle. Good luck. But if you're more proactive about it, you kind of slash the tires of the ambulance chasers by just getting proper stuff set up for your website to respect your website visitors' privacy rights. And let's be real here. I mean, we as individuals want privacy rights. Why aren't we giving that to our clients, our website visitors? We should be, not to get on my high horse here, but if we think about it, if we want privacy, we probably should respect that for other people too. So I mean, there's a lot of wins here. All we have to do is just embrace this stuff, and then life gets good. So
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like all the laws are good and they're doing the try at least attempting to do the right thing for
Yes.
users. And as business owners, we should do our best to follow those laws. And you touched on something there of you know, cutting off the ambulance chasers. And I think a lot of these lawsuits are really just they're sending out tons of demand letters, hoping people will come back and settle with them, and they'll do
Yes.
minimal amount of work for a lot of money. But I think if they come across a website and they see, oh, this website has put in at least some effort into following the laws, getting consent for cookie tracking and all those sorts of things,
Yep.
they go, okay,
Yep.
mark that off the list because there's no way we're gonna be able to get money out of them.
I think you're exactly right. There's so much low hanging fruit out there. I mean, how many websites? I mean, for anyone listening, have you ever heard of California Invasion of Privacy Act up until this moment? No way.
No.
I bet dollars to donuts because I've talked to one too many business owners who call me completely dumbfounded. I was dumbfounded at first. I'm like, and for what it's worth, this is a 30-year-old privacy law that was never even intended for websites. It was intended for third-party eavesdropping on phone calls, which is a great privacy law. Protect Californians from third parties secretly listening to calls. Like that's not a bad thing. But what was unfortunate is that everyone in the industry was caught off guard because there's this like new wave of lawyers reinterpreting that law and then sending out demand letters in the hundreds per day. And so what I would that brings me to that thought of having someone like Termageddon, doesn't have to be us, but having someone in place to monitor what's happening like this, so that there's no surprises. And I think that's the peace of mind that
Yeah.
website owners need to start considering. So
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my last question for you. If someone does decide that Termageddon is the right solution for them, what does the sign up process and getting started sort of look like? You mentioned that you can do a phone call with you to talk through your questionnaire. What does that whole process look like to onboarding and getting the new privacy policies on your website?
yeah, so email Tim or email Pronto and just say, hey, I want to get set up with Termageddon. They'll reply back, CC us, onboardings@termageddon.com. We'll book a call with you. We'll schedule a call. We're about 3 days out right now, which isn't too bad. Usually we're about a week or two out. And then we'll get on a call. I'll walk you through the setup, answer any questions you have, me or a staff member, and then, we'll walk you through the whole entire process, helping clarify any questions along the way so that you feel good about things. If you're sitting there being like, well, I don't know anything about my website, trust me, that's the number one thing we've heard. We've done the call thousands of times. We have some pretty nifty tools to help assist you with getting your proper policy set up. But the reason why you need to fill it out is because we have business specific questions that like Pronto couldn't answer. We need you to answer the business specific questions. We can help with the tech related questions. And then, we get your policies generated. We share the license with Pronto so that Pronto can embed our codes into your policy pages, embed our consent into your website. And then you're good to go. You now have the auto updating benefits of Termageddon. We'll notify you when we have new questions, when we have new updates to push automatically to your website policies. And it's great. Hopefully you'll be happy.
I'm super excited that we have this opportunity to partner together and bring your service to our clients, many of whom I know need this. And actually, we are also a Termageddon client. I recently went through your onboarding process and found it super intuitive and easy. I thought it was going to be overwhelming, but I got to the part where it asks about what tracking technology we use on our website, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, I know websites. I can go figure this out, but I'm going to have to go dig through our website, look at all our tracking codes, come back here. But nope, there's a little scan button there that scans our website, sees what's on there, and auto populates it into the tool so you can get all the right disclosures into the policies. I was like, oh, okay, this is way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And we only have plans to make it better. So we're excited for the future.
Great. All right, that's it for us today. Thank you, Hans, so much for joining me. If you've watched it and you made it through this whole video, please reach out to me or send a message to support@prontomarketing.com. Mention Termageddon and we'll help get you set up. Thank you so much, Hans. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat today.
Thank you so much, Tim. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
All right.